What's the cheat codes for somebody who has a current business, a physical business somewhere, who wants to get into, franchising that space, and why should they?
I'll talk to the investor first. So from an investor standpoint, I am sold on everybody that may not be great at scaling a business, plugging into a franchised business, right? Like, everybody doesn't have the ability to market, to brand a logo, to innovate, to lead a company, to build and have a staff. And like, that's a lot,
it's a lot of work.
And it requires a lot of work, time, energy, effort. So we'll say, yo, franchise with us. Here's the whole box. Here's the manual. Here's the sales scripts. Here's the logo. Here's the mascot, and
everything.
Years
Marketing
of experience
on the
that's involved.
Yeah,
all you gotta do is plug into it. Just follow the recipe to the T, and you'll be successful.
Systems already created.
People who are even experienced entrepreneurs, inexperienced entrepreneurs. The fact of the matter is, franchise is an extraordinarily powerful model for generating wealth on a consistent basis.
It is.
Passively to a large degree.
Give it a cheat code.
Cheat Code Unlocked podcast, man. We are going live with the GOAT of all things entrepreneurship. We're talking franchise, we're talking content, we're talking NFTs, man. This guy is the GOAT. This is Prince Donnell, man. I'm excited to go live with you, man, on this podcast. You are an inspiration to us all in the entrepreneurship space, man.
For sure.
Looking forward to the conversation.
Hey, I'm blessed and I'm thankful for y'all to have me on. I'm excited to drop a lot of information on entrepreneur lane, franchising, the tax side of things for business owners, establishing your business the right way, really going into innovation things such as NFTs, how that matters for you if you're a consumer-based brand. Right. Franchising, whole nother world there. But yeah, I'm excited. So, and we locked in tomorrow.
All right, guys. So listen, we are back again with another dope episode of Cheat Code Unlocked with the biggest of dogs in Philly, man. Prince Donnell, man. This guy, if you don't already know, if you haven't already seen, heard, or experienced Prince Donnell on social media, this guy is a complete powerhouse on in entrepreneurship, in taxes, and finance. In the NFT space now. So super excited to have you on the show, Donnell, man. I've been following you for some time, man, and you've inspired me a lot along my journey as well. So glad to have you.
Oh, for sure. And I'm just glad that I'm glad y'all got to see the advertisement on the bus.
That was crazy. That was
crazy. No, I wasn't expecting that.
Experience in real life, right? That was experience in real life, man. That was crazy.
But that was dope, man.
Yeah, that was
see that touring around the city,
right?
Saw the franchise location, so we're just building, man, with time, and that's all it's about.
Yeah, man. That it's crazy because a lot of people don't even know this, but I mean, as you can see, Prince Donnell is heavily involved in real estate, and he doesn't even, really advertise, talk about, or show, some of the real estate properties that his franchises live in and operate out of. So, I mean, I thought that was super impressive personally, and I got to definitely tip my hats off to you for that, man. That's massive. You know what I'm saying?
So. Well, look, Donnell, so for those people who don't know, who aren't familiar with the story of kind of what it is that you do, can you give us a little bit of background on the empire that is Jumpin' Jack Taxes and everything else that you got?
For sure.
Yeah, great question. So started off, my mother was doing taxes since I was 14 years old, but right on her couch.
Right.
And I would see friends, family put their W-2s through the mailbox, and she'd just be helping them out and everything, but not really on like a larger scale because, of course, she was still, obviously working and everything. And I don't think that she saw the vision of a full-scale operation.
Right.
A lot of times where we come from as a community, our vision is limited to what we can actually see.
Right.
So we don't think that like an empire is for us, like an enterprise that can be built, So fast forward, I'm 18 years old. I go to community college in Philadelphia. for a year. I go for finance and accounting. I end up the job I wanted to get was at Goldman Sachs. I wanted to be an investment broker.
Fortune 500.
Yeah, I wanted to be an investment broker right on Wall Street.
Right.
Like I had it planned out living in New York, but after a year of being in college, it was like, I'm dropping out. I don't really like the vibes here. It's too slow for me.
Right.
And I ended up moving right into banking. So I started working off at Republic Bank as a bank teller. Then I went to TD Bank, and that's where I actually got my insurance license, where I'm selling life insurance now, like, term, permanent, IULs, annuities, all types of different policies. And I'm learning the ins and outs from some of the best in the game. So I'm there, selling hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in insurance. And then I moved to Wells Fargo from that point, and I'm doing the same thing over there. All of this happened from a span of like 18 to like 22. I moved between like three different banks, and just learning everything along the process. And from there, that's when I eventually left Wells Fargo, transitioned into more entrepreneurial independence from there. And I remember my father-in-law, he had the actual kangaroo. He had the kangaroo in his basement because he's in children's entertainment. So he had like Spider-Man, he got like Spider-Man, SpongeBob, all of these different characters, and he created the kangaroo head. And he was like, yo, Don, you should go into taxes because it's a need-based business. In the beginning, I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. That's corny. Like, who does taxes?
So real quick, you saying that he had this kangaroo character just for children's entertainment, and it wasn't nothing to do with taxes.
No, he wanted to start a tax office in his community.
With the kangaroo as the mascot.
Okay. But he just never did it. Like it was always an idea in his head.
An idea.
So when I came around and he knew I had a background in finance, he was like, yo, this is perfect, bro. And I'm like, nah, I don't want to do taxes, dude. Like, who wants to do taxes? That's corny. So finally, after him drilling it in my head for about a year and just continuing to drip on me,
you're like, all right, man, I gotta get it.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what, I'll do it, because he made sense. And what he made sense on was, yo, Don, before you say no again, drive around your community. And what I want you to do is look around. Put your phone down for a second. Look around. And every zip code that you go in, you'll notice that it's exactly the same. You got tax offices, beauty supply stores, nail salons, all different types of, like, it's the same concepts in every zip code. So he's like, yo, these are things that have been here longer than you've been alive. And they still haven't shut down until this day. That's when it made sense. Like, okay, this is a need. I can really do something with this here. And then that's when Jumping Jack Tax was started. And it started off with the kangaroo with the big body, the one that y'all saw upstairs at the top. That was the OG original. And then we started off with one tax office, a family office, and then it just continued to grow.
Definitely.
But now you've been able to scale, in this short period of time, to 20 franchise physical locations. Kind of take us through that process. What is it like? What's the cheat codes for somebody who has a current business, a physical business somewhere, who wants to get into, franchising that space, and why should they, on top of that?
I think it's a twofold. I'll talk to the investor first, and then I'll talk to the person that wants to kind of thinking about launching a franchise. So from an investor standpoint, I am sold on everybody that's may not be great at scaling a business, plugging into a franchised business, right? Like, everybody doesn't have the ability to market, to brand a logo, to innovate, to lead a company, to build and have a staff. And like, that's a lot,
it's a lot of work.
And it requires a lot of work, time, energy, effort. So to get around that, you could plug into a franchise system where there's already a CEO and an entire team that has all of that laid out for you. And we're basically giving you a business in a box. So essentially now you could come in and say, yo, I want to just start this franchise, like Jumping Jack Tax as an example. And you know what? I may not know everything about taxes, but I understand it's a need-based business. I understand that it makes sense. I just don't want to build my own tax situation and do this whole thing. So we'll say, yo, franchise with us. Here's the whole box. Here's the manual. Here's the sales scripts. Here's the logo. Here's the mascot. And years of experience that's involved.
Right.
Now, all you got to do now is plug into it. The recipe. All you got to do is plug into it. Just follow the recipe to the T. And you'll be highly successful.
I mean,
Right.
even look at somebody like you got people like all the way up to Rick Ross, with Wingstop. Rick
Wingstops,
Ross
yep.
did not invent
Massive.
Wingstop.
But he
You know what I
plugged
mean? He
in.
plugged into it.
A done for you
Owns-
recipe.
I mean, I don't
Yep.
even know how many franchises Ross
got a lot.
owns, like
Massive.
He got a
70
lot.
something franchises.
Yeah.
Who's generating massive amounts of income
Yes.
Right.
from this business, right? That he did not create, he did not develop, he never had to do anything with the logo, with the branding, with the advertising,
He
that
was
type
able
of
to get
stuff.
an ROI
But
probably within 36 months.
Easily.
Exactly. And
Without
so-
having to do much effort involved.
Nothing. Systems
this
already
is for
created.
people who are even experienced entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
inexperienced entrepreneurs. And, the fact of the matter is franchise is an extraordinarily powerful model
Mhm.
It
for
is.
generating wealth on a consistent basis,
It is.
passively to a large degree.
Mhm.
So definitely makes a lot of sense on that side.
One of the cheat codes that I realized that you said earlier on that I definitely want to highlight is the fact that you did go to where Goldman Sachs and all these other big Fortune 500 companies. You learned a lot at Wells Fargo. You learned a lot at these other banks that you
Yeah.
were at. So a lot of people kind of look down on 9 to 5s. But I mean, instead of thinking about it as a curse, you can easily turn that into a blessing by just adapting their information. Make sure you're focusing on what systems they have incorporated into their businesses that is actually working, and then adapt that same system and add your own recipe to it and develop your own business model in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, that's
Now,
massive.
here's what's interesting about what you said.
Right.
So, for one, I
Mhm.
want everybody to understand that my philosophy is that everybody's not meant to be an entrepreneur.
100%. Yep.
We live in a culture today where it's like, hey, ownership.
Mhm.
Who said that ownership had to be entrepreneurship?
Right.
There's like
Right.
1,000 forms of ownership that don't involve
Nope.
running a business.
Yep.
Like what y'all
Control,
do in the
exactly.
stock market, with
Mhm.
investing in the stock market, investing in
Mhm.
crypto, how y'all teach that. That's a form of ownership where I still can be totally happy with what I do
Mhm.
in the corporate job that I work within
Still
and still have a
right.
level of ownership.
Exactly.
But we just think that only form of ownership is just the
Yeah.
it's
Start
the
a
business. So
Yeah.
I've come to realize that a lot of times it's for a number of reasons.
Mhm.
Number one, most people really only leave their job because poor management.
Mhm.
It's about 80% of the reason, not financial, is management. They don't like the management, and they don't like the leader that's helping them to grow.
Mhm.
That's the biggest reason. So now people are just finding additional outlets now, and entrepreneurship happens to be it. But
One of
ownership
them,
can be a
yeah.
number of different things.
Right.
But more importantly, too, I want to challenge the perspective that you could find an amazing organization
Mhm.
and be a leader within that organization.
Right.
You could be a number
Executive.
2 or number 3 or
Right.
an executive.
Right.
And
Everybody doesn't have to
be
the
bigger.
boss.
Yep.
Right.
And be bigger, better, and more financially secure
Yep.
than
Then
95% of entrepreneurs.
Yep.
Prime
Yep.
example. You know who the most powerful man in the world today was working for a corporation for over 16 years. Y'all know who the most powerful man in the world is?
I know.
I mean,
Top of mind that I was thinking
the
about was
conspiracy
Tim.
theorist in me wants to say some type of Ross.
I was thinking about Tim Cook.
Yes.
Yeah,
he's
I was
the
thinking
most
about Tim
powerful
Cook.
man in the world.
Yeah, I was thinking about Tim Cook,
But
man.
You know why he's the most powerful man in the world? Because he owns all of these.
Mhm.
Right? This cuts off part of the reason why Facebook is having the trouble that they having today.
Yep.
Is that easy. He could sink
Right.
billion-dollar companies. My man is the most powerful man in the world.
Right.
He was working for Apple for 17, 18
Mhm.
years before he became the CEO, and
Mhm.
now the most powerful man
It's
in
crazy.
the world.
And the thing about it, the CEO is still the employee.
It's
Like, you know what I'm
right.
saying?
Of
So
course.
it's not, even if you are
Mhm.
CEO, it's a lot of those guys, they're not even the ones that's really running the show a lot of times. You got
Right.
board of directors.
got board
all
of
that type
directors,
stuff.
yeah.
At the end of the day, you're 100% right.
crazy.
Employment is not, it is something where a lot of people look at, entrepreneur, look down on 9 to 5
Mhm.
when it's a lot of value to be placed there. And on top of that, you can also shove off a lot of the responsibility of the back end. As an entrepreneur, you're
Mhm.
responsible for everybody's paychecks. You're responsible for making sure the whole thing runs. And a lot of times that stress is not something everybody is meant to deal with,
Right.
right? It takes a different type of personality
yeah.
to deal with that type
Yeah.
of thing. So, all right, getting back to you as an entrepreneur, because I'm after going on this tour, I got to make sure everybody sees what I saw.
Right.
Right. and
100%.
understands, because I've watched you on social media for some time and I had no idea,
Right.
the models that I was thinking of, like, owning the real estate, like we talked about Ray Kroc and McDonald's not being a hamburger business, but even being a real estate business, right?
Yep.
Of owning the real estate, putting the franchise in there, turning that model around. You've been able to pull that off, right?
Mhm.
So talk to us a little bit about what that model looks like. The ideology behind getting involved into owning the building itself. Like we talked about ownership, owning the building, owning the franchises, making money on the royalty side, like how that whole kind of shebang
Yeah,
works.
so what y'all saw in Philly is a real live rollout of what McDonald's has been doing for a long time.
Mhm.
I think the model looks like Jack USA, which is
Holdings.
our holdings head
Mm-hmm.
company. It looks like Jack USA purchasing the building itself. Ideally now, Jack USA now has ownership of the building.
Mhm.
Then when the franchise location is in that building, the franchise location and the franchisee pays rent to Jack
Jack
USA
USA.
for the rental side.
Mhm.
And then any revenues that they earn and generate from the services themselves, they pay a royalty fee to Jack USA.
Not just the fact that you're taking a model where you got equity in the building,
Mhm.
right? You got that equity in the building. You got revenue being generated from the business that's hosted inside of that building,
Yes.
Right.
right? That's royalty fees coming
Correct.
in, right? Then you got rent coming from
Right.
that same business
Correct.
That's
generated
3 in
there.
just one.
It's 3 right there. Then it's a mixed use development. So now you got residential on the top
Got it.
floor.
Right.
But now you're collecting that one building that we saw had 4 residential units in it.
Got it.
Right.
So now you got 4 additional streams of income coming from that one building. So we're at just right there. We're at 7
Streams of income.
passive income streams on top of the fact that you also that kind of equity in there, right? So
Yeah.
at 7, you got 6 passive income streams plus appreciation. And the reason why I really want to harp on this is because people will look at a situation. Let's say they are a business owner, the same person who owns a salon, inside of a building, right? That's paying lease or paying rent to somebody else. By shifting that mindset to, like we talked about before, going from individual to corporate mindset, they now are able to go from just being a salon owner to now potentially earning themselves 7, 8 different revenue streams through the model that you're talking about,
Yes.
just
Right.
by executing that. So I mean, now I know that to pull that off, right? It takes a lot of systemizing in order to
Yes.
scale. Scaling and systemizing go hand in hand.
They do.
Mhm.
What are some of the tips, the cheat codes that you have to systemizing a business so that you're even able to even look at, franchising, scaling, going corporate, national type of thing?
So I would tell you first things first that you systemize through mistakes.
Mm.
Big time. I made a ton of mistakes leading up to this point with just lack of organization.
Mhm.
I think as business owners, you're going to get caught in a place where like when things start, like when you get like you got that stage 1 of scaling and then it moves to stage 2 and stage 3.
Yep.
Every stage
It's
is a
crazy,
different
yeah.
level of scaling and different
yeah.
organization. And
Comes
then
with different problems too.
it comes with different,
Yeah.
and then if it moves quickly, and then if sometimes you can move from stage 1 and skip over stage 2 and move to stage 3,
Yep.
but your mindset is still in stage 2.
So,
It's
yeah.
exhilarating though, man.
Nah,
That's the part that I love most
yeah.
about it. Is like,
Live for it.
although we talk about this as if it
Yeah.
could be like this dangerous thing, at the
Mhm.
same time, it's exhilarating. Like
Well,
it
it keeps
keeps
us
me on my
alive.
toes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right.
It really challenges my thought process. And every time that I'm in this plane up in the air and I feel like we're about to crash and we're
Mhm.
like 2 minutes from the ground, the craziest feeling for me is like when I'm like right there and I pull that thing back and
Yeah.
and it just goes back.
See,
I'm like,
nah,
yo,
you're just like
yo,
this guy.
yeah, I'm telling you, it's like, yo, that thing ain't crashing.
Right, right, right.
Now, if I'm flying it, so
Yeah,
when you got that level of
facts.
confidence set up, bro, you'll be able to create
Nothing.
any system.
Right.
So I can't even give you an honest answer around, how to develop those systems. You're going to develop your own systems through those mistakes.
Mhm.
As long as you're confident in yourself and you got a phenomenal team around you, yo, you ain't
That's-
crashing.
I mean,
It's crazy,
You did
man.
give an honest answer. Honestly,
Right.
it's really about being intentional. You know what I'm saying? And being intentional about creating the systems to the problems that you have. Like we talk about even in trading, the losses that you take are not losses; they're lessons. We talked about that even yesterday on the Kangaroo Heroes call. So, if you're a kangaroo holder, make sure y'all kangaroo holders, because you get those type of gems on a regular basis. But
Right.
being able to take a loss, turn it into a lesson, and then systemize it so that you don't have to deal with that problem again that is the
Right.
recipe. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
But also what I like about what you said is that, when you're able to bet on yourself, like that's the biggest investment that you can make, right? Is when you're betting on yourself. Putting your money with somebody else and hoping that they're going to succeed is not, it can work out well sometimes, but it doesn't, the biggest gains don't really come from that. The biggest gains really come from you being able to bet on yourself because you can drive that plane, no matter what.
And I'm like, yo, we going franchise. I'm committed,
Right.
and I'm like, this is going to work. So I'm thinking end of 2020, the franchise was officially legally ready to start accepting new franchisees.
Right.
We had our paperwork set up. Everything got approved.
Mm-hmm.
We're good. We're solid. FDD, all that. I'm like, cool, we got it. I launch in going into 2000.
Sorry, real quick, FDD, for the folks who don't know, what is FDD?
FDD is a franchise disclosure document that's required by any legal franchise.
Mm.
That's basically a potential investor getting an autobiography of that franchise to understand who's running it, what are all of the terms, what are the fees, what are the upstart costs, what's the litigation. They need to know everything involved before they make the decision.
Okay.
Yep, which is really cool too.
And it took you how long to get that done?
Took to create the FDD about 6 months.
6 months.
Wow.
And then to launch a franchise, especially like where I went national, it's gonna cost you over $100K to launch nationally as a franchise, just with all the documents and legal processes and fees. So I'm like, I'm in. So we launch November 2020, and I'm like, okay, cool. It was a couple months since the licensing to the franchise. Now it's time to start building everything back up revenue-wise. Come to find out, January comes, I go ahead and start promoting it. Ain't nobody bite on that thing. And I'm like, hold on, I thought I had I thought I was on to something. I thought I was on to something. Now, mind you, I also told everybody that was in the licensing program that I would grandfather them into the franchise. I said, hey,
what?
out of the kindness of my heart, I'm willing to grandfather y'all into the franchise as well.
Without paying any franchise
Without paying the franchise fee, you'll be able to come in to Jumping Jack Tax on the franchise. And I was certain that out of 1,000 people, I was just certain.
Radically makes sense. I was thinking like, even without, grandfathering people in, I was thinking like, if they've already done business on the white labeling side, why wouldn't I just go to the same person? That's what I thought too.
Because you know what it was? Is when people are attached to their brand. Right?
Exactly.
It's like people get attached to their little baby and they don't see the bigger picture.
They're like, oh, nah.
It's too late.
Yeah, you're just trying to buy me out of something that I already know that I'm going to win at.
And that's exactly how it went down.
Yeah,
I didn't expect that. So I made all of these expectations like, okay, we're going to move the franchise. The licensees are going to transfer over in the franchise. I'm a grandfather them in. Everything's going to go smoothly. And then when we launch going into January on social media as a franchise, everything will go crazy. Well, what happened first was 99.9% of the licensees said no because I'm attached to my brand. Why are you trying to buy me out of my stuff? I'm cool. You already taught me everything I needed. I'm good to go. So now, literally out of 1,000, all of them left. I'm going to say maybe 3 came over. So that was the first thing where I'm like, whoa, I went totally wrong there.
You know what, though? That actually is probably a blessing in disguise, though, because the learning curve of scaling a franchise
it was.
Three starting with 3 franchisees is a good
number.
And I learned something also about franchising as I get down in this story. But
yo, listen. If you want to learn about stocks and crypto and Forex and futures, man, make sure y'all tap the link in the description below, man. We got free classes all day, every day. I got to get you this information, man. I don't even care if I get hit by no cars, man. I got to get y'all this information. This is life or death. Free class, link in the bio, man. Link in the description below. Listen, get back to y'all's episode, man. I'm going to see y'all later. See you in the free class.
Just give me the cheat code.
So all these things going through my mind as February 2021, no revenue being generated. Of course, I'm like, yo, I got to figure out something fast to be able to pull this plane back up because I made such a crazy decision. I remember this like it was yesterday, bro. It was April. It was April. And I get on the line with this dude named Jay Sims. By this point, I got a whole presentation set up. I've been doing hour presentations with everybody.
Clockwork.
We get on the line with Jay Sims, and I finally say to myself, I'm not running the presentation anymore. Like maybe the presentation is the problem, like to where it's just too structured and too salesy.
This seems,
I'm throwing the presentation away. I'm just going to talk to the guy
like a regular conversation.
Hop on with him. I remember the call like it was yesterday. He he's in his car, hat backwards, with a tank with a tank top on. Like I'm like, yo, who is this? Who's this guy?
Who's this dude?
You know, so we talking everything, and then he started breaking down. Yeah, bro, listen, I've been following you for like 3 years. He said, I've been seeing the growth of the Jumping Jack Tax brand, and when you moved into a franchise, I said it was a genius idea, fam. He said, I finally just got back on social media, saw that you made the shift, and I had to fill out an application because I knew I was ready to go through and do this. I've heard this conversation 15, 20 times already. I'm like, all right.
This is another guy.
Lawyer,
once we get off this call,
that's exactly what's going to happen. So now I'm like, you know, so we talking, and he's like, we end the call. He's like, bro, I'm doing this. He's like, do you have any other franchisees? And at this point, I just was honest. I'm like, bro, everybody said no. Like, it was nothing else for me to lose it. I'm like, bro, everybody said no. And he's like, so you're telling me I'm going to be the very first franchisee to say yes? I'm going to be the crazy person. I said, yes. He said, I'm in. I'm doing it.
That's the energy.
Shout out to Jason.
Shout out to Jason.
So then I'm like, okay, we'll see. He's like, I promise you. So we hang up the line. Next thing you know, I send the dude the FDD. Yep. He signs the FDD, gets it over to his team. Then next thing you know, lawyers reach out. We go through negotiation. Things went fast. Next thing I know, 14 days later, very first franchisee closes the deal right in April 2021. And I'm like, yo, this works. It works.
Man, I need it.
You get what I'm saying? It works.
Sims,
that was the
script
on the ground.
Yeah, like not there yet, but it's like, you know, we right here, you know, we riding low.
Yeah, nah,
and it
that's
works.
crazy.
And then from there, that's when we came up with the concept of franchise signing day. Because we're like, yo, since we have this franchisee, he's right in Jersey, we need to create a concept. And all credit to Van, media director,
Shout
because
out Van.
he the one that came up with this franchise signing day concept where we put hats on the table, where it was kind of like college, where like you choose which hat you wanted. Was it Jumping Jack Tax, the Block, or like Liberty? And then we ran that franchise signing day where he put on that hat and chose that one out of the rest of them, and we had all the confetti popping and all of that. Next thing you know, that's applications just rolling down at that point. Now we went from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and then by the end of 2021, bro, you talking about what? We went 16 franchisees within a 6-month period of time. That was crazy.
Dude,
that's massive.
You know, it's funny because it's not even crazy when I'm really listening to what you're saying.
Yeah,
like what you guys really did was you took content, right? What people do on social media all the time for fun, what you've been able to master, which is content. You utilize that to essentially market a business model that you knew was successful, where other people are doing exactly what you're talking about, sending FDDs. Everybody else in the franchising world is doing exactly that. And I've been down that path of looking for franchises and stuff like that, so I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, it's a thing where, and I'm even surprised that your attorney he was actually the crazy person in the first place. He would say like, yo, you have a business model that's so new, let's franchise it, right? In the first place, most people don't do that.
Right.
But you took something like that, branded it, and then utilize content like the draft day campaign, and that's marketing. And it's basically the franchise is the product, and you're marketing it with great creative content.
Refreshed.
You merge that together, and you see the success that you have. It is absolutely
genius.
You know
man.
I mean?
When that happened,
it's not crazy at all.
It went crazy. We went 16 franchises up by the end of 2021.
I even signed up for one.
Speaking
of which, where's my application at? Who's in charge of my application?
We need a few regions.
It went crazy, man. And now we have 18 official franchises with a few more in the queue, obviously. So we'll probably cross over 20 within the next month or so. Our goal is to get to 100 by the end of 2022. And now we have franchisees that are in the midst of the season, generating revenue, royalties flowing. Like, bro, last year, 2021 was a scary year, fam. Like,
breaking point.
So 2021 was your year. You did the pandemic to bandemic type of thing, man. Y'all, you really came up this year. And to me, again, kind of going into it, to the genius of it, you know, utilizing content creation to market a franchise as essentially, you know, the same way you market any other product online. People are marketing courses and this and that, all the type of stuff. Marketing franchises. I gotta, you know, I would be amiss if we didn't talk about content while sitting here with you in this space, because, you know, you are one of the, I think, top content producers that I follow. And so how has content, like, how do you manage and operate this high level of content execution from creative to production in such an efficient manner, man?
Right at the top of 2021, we were just doing what pretty much everybody else was. Every day trying to sit down and figure out what exactly am I about to shoot today. Not having a real game plan established, which that's a problem in itself because think about it. You're trying to run a business. You're going to spend an hour during your day to try to think about what you're going to shoot, and then take another hour to shoot it if you're even that good, because most people haven't practiced enough to be able to shoot content in quick, rapid pace. So now you're thinking an hour to 3 hours of your day is just spent on trying to get 1 to 2 pieces of content done.
Yeah.
That's half your day already.
It really is.
And I'm realizing that I'm like, yo, it has to be a more efficient way that we can develop content at scale. And then you also got to factor in where most people are trying to shoot high level content. So they're using cameras and 4K, if you have those type of cameras, which then will require you to now have to export the footage, transfer the final cut, edit it down. So think about it. It took me 3 hours just to get it done, then another 3 hours to edit. That's a 6-hour day just to get one video done. And that's why most people only post once a day, because they're following that type of system. That's not scalable if you don't have a full running media team that of editors and different people that now are throwing that out, which would then require you to have to scale an entire operation.
Right.
If you're obviously on a single member LLC or a sole proprietor, you don't have that kind of operation or the capital to be able to deploy it. So we thought to ourselves, how can we still scale without using any of our professional cameras and do it in a way where we don't have to constantly think about what content we're going to shoot each day? Now that brings forth this process that I talked about of whiteboarding, right? I'm going to bring y'all through a little bit of process here. Whiteboarding basically is similar to what y'all would do in the stock market, to where you run all your plays down for the week because you read all of these charts. And after reading the charts, I'm choosing the best plays and the opportunities. And I'm whiteboarding those, and I got a watch list. Same thing that you would do in the stock market on the watch list. I created a whiteboard on the content side. So essentially, I'll spend an hour a day on Twitter, I'll spend an hour a week on Twitter, another hour a week on TikTok, another hour on YouTube. And what I'll do is I'll take that time just for an hour or two, just consuming content. So I can get a sense of what's being talked about right now, what's relevant, what's current event. And then specifically on TikTok, getting a good understanding of the trends and the sounds that are happening. And then anytime that I like a new sound or a trend or something of that nature, or like a quote or something that I saw on Twitter or something of that nature, I'll copy all of those. I'll take the links and I'll put all of the links on my whiteboard. And then after I'm done whiteboarding and I got like 20 to 30 links, I'll start going through all of them and I'll say, okay, I like this sound. I like that sound. Ooh, I can take that quote and I could turn that into a whole message that I could talk about and go a little bit deeper in. And next thing you know, now I have on that Sunday broken down all of the pieces of content that I plan to shoot for that day. So now that I'm whiteboarded, that just removes all of the actual planning that I'm trying to do every day before I shoot. I'm coming in ready to shoot. So I think if you tweak just that by whiteboarding your content by Saturday and Sunday, your week is going to look so much different when it comes to shooting in your content, because you're just getting it out at rapid fire, and you can batch it all and probably shoot a lot more in one day and just have it being rolled out throughout the week. But then you have the second part that we learned after whiteboarding, which is what completely changed, our content strategy, where we now look at our content pieces as TV shows on a network. So as an example, Prince Donnell is a network. And then all of the content pieces that Prince Donnell shoots are TV shows. Now you think about it, a TV show comes on every week. The same show, same time, same show. Only difference is there's just a different, an addition to the storyline every week. But they're not creating a brand new show every week. They're just adding to the one that already exists. So then we said to ourselves, okay, let's create 5 or 6 different pieces of content that we know we can just keep interchanging those clips. So as an example, that's how we came up with Yo Don, I got a question. And we didn't even expect at that point for that to kind of go crazy. It was kind of funny how that existed, how that came about. But Yo Don, I got a question is basically now a TV show where essentially now every day we just ran Yo Don, I got a question every day once, and we just interchanged a new question with it. So now instead of me having to come in and thinking of a whole new content piece, I know every day I can shoot, Yo Don, I got a question, and I at least got one video every day that I know guaranteed I could fall on just with a different question attached to it. Now that flow is crazy. Then after that, we started looking at our next TV show was, let's just say, The Other Side of the Door, where I open up the door and I'm like, yo, who are you? And then on the other side, it was somebody like with a different message or something of that. And then we started plugging in a message into that particular segment on the door. Then we had our still shot where like I would do videos where I'm like sitting on the roof and it's like a tweet over top of my head and I'm just still. So once we found those shows, instead of us now coming in and recreating a whole new thing, we just kept plugging into the same pieces that we already built. And now it made the process seamless and we could shoot 90% of it with our phone.
Yeah. And that
So
turns
now-
around, allows you to turn around the content.
Correct.
faster.
And then what we would do is from 10 o'clock a.m. to 11, we would come in and 10 to 11 is our guaranteed shooting time. And we would say, okay, cool. We doing Yo Don, I got a question. We doing a car video. We doing the door. We doing a silent shot. We doing a still shot upstairs. And we would just literally go right to our places
Boom,
where
boom,
we would
boom.
shoot everything at
Stations.
each day. Boom, 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 boom with the stations. And then we would get them all done. Content done by 11. 5 pieces of content created every single day with the same concepts. And we would just get them
so
rolled
let me
out.
ask
Boom.
you this. Would you say that, having a space, a physical space, right, and a team together, right, helps you, I mean, obviously helps you, but would you say that that's a key component to being able to turn out high volume content like that? Or is this something that you think, I mean, I guess you can just adjust either way, but how significant of a factor do you think that plays in, the ability to create content at that level?
I do believe it plays a significant factor to have a team that's assisting you in creating your content. I will tell you that if if you're a small business owner, I would suggest that the first person on your team is somebody that specializes in content creation. Right? That's because of just the world that we live in today. In 2022, that's probably one of the most valuable things to you is one that can understand content, knows how to create it, and then it's even a bonus if they know how to edit it out and they have some level of creativity in doing so. I think that should be the very first person on your team before you do anything else. But I will say that even if you did not have a team, it still doesn't prevent you from creating content at a high level. There was a time when I first started on social media, back in 7 years ago. I've been shooting content for like 7 or 8 years. 7 years ago, I was doing it from a cracked iPhone screen in my apartment.
Yeah.
And I remember like it was yesterday. Every day when I got home from work, I would go to my window where the most light was at. The light hits you right way.
Golden hour.
Yeah.
That man is in that light.
And then I would have my my iPhone screen,
Right.
and then I would record motivational videos for social media, and I would do like 2 or 3 of them, and then I would have them posted throughout the day. So even then at that time, I was still like after each day going back through and making that content. So you can indeed still do it by yourself. Can it be done on a higher level to where you're doing 5, 6, 8 pieces of content? Probably not if you're doing it by yourself, but I definitely believe that you can definitely get 1 to 3 pieces of content out solely just with you if
Every
you had
day.
the dedication necessary, because I've done it and I've seen others that have done it as well.
Right. 100%. 100%, man.
So let me ask you this also, when it comes to platforms.
Yes.
Right. I know you primarily, what it seems like to me is primarily on Instagram. You obviously also on TikTok, things like that. YouTube obviously being a significant platform of evergreen content and monetization as well. How do you, how important, how critical do you think YouTube plays a factor into, business success and scalability? And how does somebody find the success that, you've been able to also achieve on YouTube as well? How do we do that?
Great question. I believe that every single social media platform has an important role to play in the overall strength of your brand. I don't believe that one is more important than the other. Do I have a preference? Yes. But I also understand that each of them equally have their own demographics, the way that you post, and how consumers engage with it. So, for example, if we start with Instagram, to me, Instagram has now become more of a business, social, networky, clicky type of platform, right? If y'all notice, right? It's kind of the same clicks, kind of collaborating,
A
associating.
cooler LinkedIn, essentially.
Yeah, that's basically what Instagram has, but that's actually a great, it's a cooler version of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It's what LinkedIn should have
Aspired,
become. But just didn't make it there yet. So that's what Instagram has become, you know, a mixture of photos, videos, reels, but it's all advertisement that's now through Instagram now. So ideally, if you're not creating more entertaining and educating things that are ads, then your content is going to get looked over on Instagram because it's just so saturated with everybody trying to promote and sell things on there. The only way you can get through that, you got to have a great formula on Instagram where you ain't really going to work no more. And the actual organic reach of Instagram is shot off. So for somebody to move from 200,000 to 700-800 to 1 million, you know, in these times, it's not enough volume. Right? It's not enough momentum that's on Instagram to allow you to shift over to 1 million unless you just literally catch one crazy viral moment, which is very, 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 very rare. It's not happening. It's a slow growth thing now. You got to get unique with it. So that's Instagram. But I do believe that Instagram is a great platform for conversion because they set it up that way from the link in your bio down to you being able to shop straight from clicking shop down for those who have e-commerce stores. Perfect platform for easy and quick conversions. So that's Instagram, and I believe is a great platform for that. And then you also have now TikTok. TikTok is a younger demographic now. You're talking those who are like 14 all the way up to, you know, to 22,
21.
Which is that's the prominent, that's the primary demographic in itself.
Consumers.
And they're the major consumers and they spend so much time. Now with TikTok, their algorithm and their platform is no photos. And it's not even you being able to really like, people don't even really go to your profile.
Right.
It's more of like a
swipe through.
Just a swipe through all day long. You know, so now with TikTok, you got to have a different strategy because TikTok is not really a link in bio type of platform. Nobody's going to go to your profile and click the link in your bio. So it requires a different type strategy. And I would say TikTok is more of a long-term play. If you're in entrepreneurship, you know, you're just building, it's kind of like
community, right?
It's capturing like a community. Seeing a good community, a neighborhood out there in real estate.
Right.
The developers ain't touch it yet.
Right.
But you know it's gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna just start buying up some lots here because I know over time it's gonna get there. It has great potential because the younger demographic, especially if, you know, obviously younger folks are going to become your consumers.
Yeah, I was going to say,
so you already want to start getting them engaged with your brand because when they become the next 28 to 30-year-olds, you know, they're the ones growing up through TikTok and they're going to spend money with the brands that they know today.
So would you say that, you know, Instagram is more, you know, seems to be more of a platform for, you know, actual conversion of sales and products and things like that, whereas TikTok is more brand recognition, brand reputation type of thing, not necessarily sales. And then, you know, again, going back to the YouTube is more for, I mean, what would you categorize that?
Like, I love YouTube.
Yeah.
And by the way, I know a lot of people who generate a lot of money on TikTok too. So, just to say that, I wouldn't necessarily call TikTok a no conversion brand. There's people that are generating a lot of revenue via TikTok. Instagram is much more mature though when it comes to the conversion side. Clearly, from Facebook ads to the way that they built out their business platform, how you can run ads, they're more mature by far. TikTok does have the potential of doing that, and there are people who are, but not at a mass scale yet. It's still going to take them a lot of time, which I think they will. But then YouTube is my favorite today for a number of reasons. So I have about 200K on YouTube that I was able to build out over the course of maybe about 8 months.
Right.
And
that's solid.
8 months.
Man, that's solid.
It grew like We found that.
Are you generating right?
Look, they back there like, yup.
Are you
That's
generating?
right.
We put in a lot. Yo, we put in a lot of work.
Seriously.
I would
put
say,
a lot of work.
are you putting out as much
What is
content
the recipe
you
for
are on
that?
YouTube as you are on Instagram?
No, you don't have to. Now
Interesting.
here's what's
Okay, here we go.
here's
Let's get the cheat
interesting
code
The
now.
about
cheat code right
It's
here.
the
'Cause I
cheat
need to
code.
hear it. 8
YouTube,
months.
the lay of the land on YouTube, the rules are different.
Right.
Now, the mistake we originally made on YouTube
Mhm.
was that the mistake that many people make is that they take their Instagram content and then move it to YouTube and say, okay, cool, it should just do well on YouTube.
Nah.
Wrong. There's different rules on Instagram. It's just like there's different rules on TikTok
Mhm.
and there are on YouTube. Even if you take your Instagram content and put it on TikTok, it's not going to perform well because TikTok's lay of the land is different. I might be able to make videos for Instagram, but on TikTok, I might have to make closer, more zoomed in videos because
Right.
it's a full screen on TikTok.
Right.
And then on YouTube, it's more of a
Wide. Yeah.
it's a wide
Landscape.
screen,
Yeah.
landscape view. So now, and then the lighting is different. And so on YouTube, it took us a while, but we found that formula because YouTube is more of a niche-based platform.
Yeah.
You normally only go to YouTube to say how to do this, how to do that, or
Right.
how to like that. That's it.
1000%. Yeah.
So when you can find a lane that you can teach people on YouTube a very specific niche,
Mhm.
that's when you begin to win because YouTube's algorithm is massively sticky. So it took us a few months, but then we started to lean in on the business finance side. So that's where we started generating videos just talking about, hey, how to set up your LLC one-on-one.
Mhm.
What's the difference between an LLC and an S Corp? The five bank accounts to set up for your LLC. Do not put your money. The best video we had was do not
I
what
think I
was it?
saw that.
Do not
in the
put your money
bank
in
or
the
something.
bank, and that would
Yeah.
get like 1.5 million
Yeah.
views.
Yeah.
So like we started niching in
And people find these videos organically through YouTube.
organically.
Just
That's
Because they're
SEO,
just
right?
searching.
Yeah.
And then the way YouTube's algorithm is set up is once people start clicking on that video and they start watching, as long as the watch time is good, like people are watching 50%, that's when things get serious because
So if you just got in the market within the last 2 years, I'd say one of the most powerful things that you can equip yourself with is a community of like-minded people who are in the market day in, day out, looking at things that you might not be looking at. So make sure to tap the link below and join the Cheat Code community today. We have stocks, Forex, futures, and crypto. Any market you can think of, we got a community for it. See you guys on the inside.
Just give me the cheat code.
So
yeah.
and by the way, also with YouTube, which is much different than Instagram, is that you can make a video on Instagram and 3 days later, it's
no longer relevant.
It's no longer
Yeah,
relevant,
it's-
and they're not pushing it out anymore.
At all. Yeah.
YouTube, I can make a video from a year ago, and if it's a popular video, a year from now, 2 years from now, YouTube is still recommending it at a high rate.
Now, let me ask you this on just a quick note. What type of ad dollars? Because a lot of people don't even know. We hear people talk about from, YouTubers making millions of dollars to
Mhm.
people making a couple dollars. You get a video that hits 1 million views, let's say, right? What type of revenue does that look like? Or even, let's say, 100,000 views. Like, what does that, is it, in the couple $100 range, the $1,000 range? Like, what does that actually
I
look
think that the video that we had on Do Not Keep Your Money in the Bank, which did 1.5 million, I think that we earned, and Van will correct me because I think he's searching it right now. I think that video did like $40,000 from that one video that we
That's a
shot
whole-
one time. Now, mind you,
You could buy a
mind
Jumpin'
you-
Jack Tax franchise with that money.
but
There
listen
you go.
though,
Facts.
regardless of that, even from you making a video one time,
Yeah.
Could have your entire
and
year.
for it to turn into a
Right.
$40,000 video,
Yeah.
you know what you can do with those dollars, and you
Yeah.
never had to do a video like that again. For me, anybody that's like developing content at a high level, you need to move to YouTube. They've mastered the ad dollar splits in the revenues to
The sweet
creators.
spot.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's the reason why you don't see creators moving to Instagram, and they never will
Mhm.
because it's not set up for Instagram that way,
Right.
but YouTube
Mhm.
is, and it's evergreen, so you can get your brand out there
Yeah.
for
Right.
years.
And now you got platforms like Fanbase. Shout out to my man Isaac Hayes for Fanbase,
Yep.
black-owned platform. Monetizing and giving people content, monetization for the content, man. So
Right.
y'all, if you don't know, man, look into Fanbase, man. You just gotta drop that on there because Instagram definitely has a funny some funny behavior patterns, even with
yeah.
shadow banning and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's crazy because Instagram, I mean, what you said is key. Like, Instagram is almost like poaching their own creators to a certain degree because it's like they're trying to reduce your reach for you to be more motivated to pay for ads on the platform.
Of course.
As opposed to YouTube encouraging the creator by paying them in ads for them to create more to feed their algorithm, which is like very distinct ways to approach a situation. And this is a very learning experience, man. Your business model is super important.
And here's the best part. Anybody can go to YouTube right now.
Anybody.
With 5 subscribers. You make here's the formula. You make a great headline, right? Something that's relevant to headline, to the niche that you're talking about.
Right.
Like, for example, like in my case, I got 5 subscribers. LLC versus S Corp. What not to do.
Boom.
Easy headline. You make your thumbnail. You know, your thumbnail needs to be engaging some sort of color so that when people are looking at recommendations, they stop on it. Right. You got your headline, you got your thumbnail, and then as long as the content is solid, because that's the third part. Your content trash, it ain't going nowhere. If the content's solid, those 3 things, you could have 5 subscribers. That video could shoot to hundreds of thousands of views, and YouTube will allow it because they don't care.
All right, man. We gotta get into the fun stuff now, man. I've been saving this one for last, man.
Yeah. All the crypto NFT
we got these fellas back here, man. The Kangaroo Heroes NFTs. I gotta say, first and foremost, you are, you know, and I don't even need to do the research on this. You know what I mean? Y'all do your own due diligence or whatnot. But I gotta say that you are the only, you know, corporate business owner who has successfully built a NFT community like you have in the way that you have done it, right? Because I haven't seen anybody else actually engage a community in the way that you have in support of your brand and your mascot. You use this example a lot with the Geico Gecko, right? Yeah. Where, you know, had they done something like that where you got all these commercials of the gecko all the time, it would have been crazy, especially all the all the little outfits you be having with the glasses, sometimes all that stuff would have went crazy, right? And so now watching you do this with the Kangaroo Heroes NFT collection, but from a corporate perspective, how you know, went from ideation of you know, starting a mascot collection for your company, right, to where it is now and that kind of journey.
And where it's going as well.
Oh, yeah, sure. Of course.
So when I looked at it on a consumer level, with NFTs, you can create the same thing where somebody buys the NFT and then it gives them real world access to something. NFTs started off as more of just a collector type thing where it was like a profile picture. Like that's where CryptoPunks and Bored
It's like
Ape
baseball cards and those little sports cards and whatnot.
So from there, obviously, we already had the Kangaroo. How can I make this more affordable? Well, you know what? Anybody who has a Kangaroo Heroes NFT, they automatically get 30% off of all of our services for the life of them having this NFT. So now it gives you access to all pop-up events that we're hosting around the country, where we just did one in Atlanta. We did another one in Houston. I show up to those events, host financial literacy courses, but it's a real private event, you know, like a which is leading me into the community side. And we just started layering in all these, like a crypto event, a small business event. And then the biggest utility was, I'm like, I want to have a conference, you know, like a financial conference, sort of like Coachella, made in America type vibe. And through you having a Kangaroo Hero, that gets you access to that conference where we have speakers, and then there's just a whole bunch of fun and just crazy things just going on at that conference that we're having. So we layered in the utility. And then we launched the Kangaroo Heroes NFT project. And then with enough demand that we had, we ended up selling out of the NFT project in, I'm going to say, about 3 days, maybe. But the most unique part about NFTs, it's not even a utility for me. The community came in second, where the purpose of an NFT is that you have created thousands of brand ambassadors for your company daily. But do you know why they're willingly able to become brand ambassadors? Because now they have a piece of your brand through the collectability of the NFT.
And what you're doing is there's a genius behind that I don't want people to escape, and I actually want people to really learn from and integrate into the businesses, because as minority entrepreneurs especially, these are the types of things that we have to do to close these wealth gaps that we talk about on a day-to-day basis, right? It's not just about becoming an entrepreneur, it's about thriving at a high level, at the highest level possible in order to do it, and that's what you're doing here, man. So you dropped all the cheat codes on us in this particular episode, man.
All of them.
I can't even. I hope everybody listening really takes exactly what you're talking about here and embeds it into their path, so that they can grow in the same way. Because I'm excited to see where you go in the next 5-10 years. I can already see the vision. I think you'll probably be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in this space. Point blank period, hands down, man. So again, it's a pleasure having a conversation with you, man. Being here in Philly, dope energy, dope vibes, man. You guys make sure y'all tap into this Kangaroo Heroes NFT project. And shameless plug time, man. You gotta let the people know where they can find you.
All
if
the
they
way
don't already know, which I doubt.
Yeah.
Let them know where they can find you and how to get involved, man.
Yeah, so you can follow me on social media, Prince Donnell. Search it up. I'm on Instagram, Prince Donnell on Instagram, Prince Donnell on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, all those platforms. And then, of course, if you're a small business owner, you obviously need small business. If you need small business tax, if you need bookkeeping, if you need life insurance, if you need business insurance, whatever it is that you need, you come to Jumping Jack Tax. Our franchisees can help you, whether it be virtually or in-house, whichever one that you prefer. And then, of course, as well, we have our NFT project. So for our crypto enthusiasts, those that are NFT collectors, and you want to be able to have a collection of a brand similar to like a Geico or Aflac that move into the future wise and with the utility that's associated, you can search Kangaroo Heroes on OpenSea, and you'll be able to find our project there and be able to grab one off the floor.
Let's go, man. Let's go. All right, man. Y'all heard it, man. Make sure y'all grab one. Kangaroo Heroes NFT. I'm about to go grab me about 10 of them.
Facts,
Add it to my wallet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So make sure I can get to all the events.
Yeah,
in case this guy gets too big and he doesn't want to pick up our calls anymore.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find we're pulling up to these Heroes events. These Rue events.
So all right, man. So listen, y'all, cheat code unlocked, man. Jay, tell them what they need to do.
Man, as always, make sure you subscribe, like, and as always, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell your mother friend.
Peace.